Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I do have kind of like a makeup spring cleaning going on. I have decluttered my brushes earlier this spring and I decluttered my blushes very recently. And today I am going to declutter my highlighters. So I do have over here all of my highlighters. As you can see, I don't have that many singles, but I do have a lot of highlighters in my collection that are in palettes. Either they are highlighter palettes or they may be multitasking palettes with highlighters. And if I count all of those highlighter pans plus my single highlighters, I do have 42 highlighters in total in my collection, and that is way too much for my one face. So today I'm going to do some decluttering here. It's not like I'm going to declutter half of my highlighters. I know that during 2019 I will probably get rid of quite many highlighters that are in palettes, because I'm probably going to depot most of those palettes that have highlighters in them, but for now those highlighters are going to stay in my collection. I think I'm going to first go through my single highlighters, so let me put the palettes away for a while and then let's get to my singles. These are all of my single highlighters, so I don't have them that much. I do have two liquid highlighters, so let's start with them. I don't use liquid highlighters on my face, but I think they are beautiful body highlights. I do have this one from Barry M. It is their liquid chrome highlighter drops, and this one is in my 19 in 2019 project pan, so my goal is to finish it up completely. This one is, I think, a little bit too pink for me to highlight my body with, because yeah, it's just a little bit too unnatural and a little bit too pink. So my plan is to mix it to body lotion in summer and then use it up. Then I do have one liquid highlighter from Revolution, and this is their liquid highlighter in the shade Liquid Champagne. This one I like more to highlight my body. This one is like a little bit more natural color than the pink one, and I think it's absolutely stunning, and it's for sure something that I want to keep in my collection. The rest of my single highlighters are powder highlighters. I do have here one loose highlighter. So this is from Aromaleigh, and it is their Fortuna highlighter from their Goddess collection. And I'm going to declutter this. I also had one blush from the Goddess collection from Aromaleigh, but the thing is that I just don't like loose face products except for like a loose setting powder, but loose highlighters, loose bronzers, loose blushes, I just don't really like them. I think the highlighter itself is pretty. It is like an interesting pink color, but it kind of does have like a light green shift to it. It's a really cool color in my opinion, but yeah, I'm going to declutter this. Then I do have here all of my pressed powder highlighters. theBalm Mary-Lou Manizer is my oldest highlighter. It is one of my favorites, and it is in my 19 in 2019 project pan. So I don't have a lot of this left, and my plan is to finish it this year. And I think one day when my highlighter collection is a little bit smaller, when I have decluttered it, maybe planned something else from here, this might be something that I would repurchase. I really love this. It's like this champagne gold color, goes with so many different looks, and this is one of the few highlighters that actually work for me no matter if I am at my palest or if I have tan on. Another highlighter that I'm going to keep from this is the Essence Pure Nude highlighter in Be My Highlight. This one is a beautiful, very subtle, natural highlight. The only thing is that this is like a little bit deep. I wish it was a little bit lighter so that I could wear it when I am at my palest, because the fact is that this one is too dark for my skin tone when I don't have any tan. But during summer this is like a stunning highlighter that is so subtle and just beautiful and glowy. And I do have from Becca a really small size of their Opal highlighter. This one came from a set with a liquid highlighter. This is like a beautiful, little bit more neutral champagne color, and I really do love this kind of highlighters a lot. I think they are stunning with neutral or more cool toned neutral looks. But the thing is that this one is just a little bit deep for my skin tone. I can only really pull it off when I do have some tan on, and I do have highlighters with similar tones in some of my palettes. So I actually don't want to keep this. I think somebody with just a little bit more deeper complexion might enjoy this more. So there is no point for me to keep this. But I must say that Becca highlighter formula is awesome. This is the only one I have currently. I also had the Champagne Pop, but I decluttered that one too. But in future I might pick up highlighters from them if I need one and if they have that color that I'm looking for. This one is a Pixi Glow You powder, and it was in collaboration with Aspynovard. I really don't even know who she is. I bought this because yeah, I wanted to try a Pixi highlighter formula, and I must say I do really like this. So this is in the shade London Lustre. I'm not sure if I said it already. It is like a really light pale yellow gold. The thing is that I do have so many other highlighters in this color in my palettes, and I'm probably going to keep the palettes. So I'm going to declutter this one because I just don't need so many highlighters with the exact same color, and this one is just easier to give away. Okay, so those were all of my single highlighters, and over here I do have my highlighter palettes. So I do have 5 highlighter palettes, and these truly are highlighter palettes. There is nothing else than highlighters in these palettes. First I want to show this to you. This is a magnetic palette from Tarte, and I do have here 3 highlighters from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I did have their That Glow kit, but I decided to get rid of the packaging as well as the one shade that was too deep for me in that palette. So I decided to keep 3 of these highlighters. This is called Sunburst. It is like a light yellow gold. It is not quite the same than the Pixi highlighter I showed you. This one is clearly more warm, but it is still like light yellow gold. Then there are 2 champagne highlighters here. This one is called Bubbly, and it is a little bit more neutral, and this one is called Dripping in Gold, and it is a little bit more warmer golden. But honestly, the difference between those 2 highlighters is not that much. I really do like these highlighters from Anastasia. They are beautiful and glowy, but they are also like a little bit more softer highlighters. I have heard their highlighter formula is a little bit inconsistent. Some of their highlighters seem to be more powdery and glittery, but I think these are really beautiful, and I do want to keep them. Then I do have the Ofra Glow Up palette. So this is a Ofra highlighter palette with 4 of their highlighters. So there is Beverly Hills, that is this wheel highlighter. Then there is this pale yellow gold called Star Island, I believe it is. Yeah, Star Island. This one is Blissful, and it is that little bit more rose goldy champagne. And this one is Rodeo Drive, that I think is one of their most popular highlighters. It is like a beautiful gold. It's my most beautiful gold highlighter in my opinion. As you probably know, the Ofra highlighter formula is really blinding. To be honest, I don't go for this kind of highlighters most of the times on my everyday wear anymore, but I do really love this and I want to keep this palette. A highlighter palette that I'm going to declutter is this BH Cosmetics Blacklight highlight palette. I really do love BH highlighter formula. It is super blinding, and I think for the price it is awesome. So this is a colorful highlighter palette, and the thing is that I just don't wear colorful highlighters. I don't think they look that good on myself. I think they can look fun, but I think, to be honest, that they look better on a skin that is a little bit deeper than mine. So I just really don't need this palette. There is a couple of shades that I might want to keep, but I don't like them enough to keep the whole palette. So let me swatch all of these to you. So this shade Laser, that is like a mint green, that one I might want to keep. I think A mint green highlighter is stunning on tanned skin, but in the end of the day it's something I might use like once or twice during summer, so no point for me to keep this. Also, this white shade strobe I would like to keep, but I do have another white highlighter in my BH Cosmetics Curly Bible Deluxe Edition palette, so I really don't need this. So this one I am going to declutter. This one is a little bit more tricky. It is the BH Cosmetics Spotlight Highlighter palette, and it also does have 6 different highlighters, and this one is more neutral, and I do like how good variety there is in this palette. My issue with this one is that I only really would like to keep one shade from the palette, and it is this shade Dream over here. It is an exact dupe for Becca Champagne Pop. When I got this palette, I gave the Champagne Pop to my sister because I didn't want to keep it anymore because that product is not vegan and this one is. The other highlighters I could honestly do without. Let me swatch these to you, so I will explain them then. So yeah, this highlighter, it real is beautiful in my opinion. It is like almost white highlighter with peachy shift to it, and I think it's super pretty, but it's so light that it's something I can only pull off when I am at my palest, and even then it's a very strong highlighter. It can also be like a little bit more chalky and powdery. Then this one, it's so similar to Champagne Pop. This shade Radiance over here is a beautiful color, but it's too deep for my skin tone. Then this shade Glow over here is now a dupe for the Pixi London Lustre, and it's also dupe for the Becca Star Island. So let me swatch you the London Lustre and Star Island too. So this is the Pixi London Lustre and this is the Becca Star Island. As you can see, they are so similar, these three, and that is the reason why I'm going to declutter the Pixi one. It is a little bit more subtle, and because of that I think it's a little bit more wearable on everyday basis, but I just don't need it. Then there is this shade Allure and Vivid. They are both like pink rose gold highlighters, and they are more of those cooler toned pinks. I think I could dupe the vibes of those highlighters with the Ofra Beverly Hills highlighter if I just focus my brush over here. Yeah, I have been thinking if I should depot this palette or not, but I think for now I'm going to keep it. I just think it would be a little bit wasteful if I depotted this. I couldn't keep a palette that I have ripped apart and taken some of the highlighters from there. I just wouldn't want to give that to someone else, and yeah, I think it would be so wasteful if I just, you know, throwed the rest of the colors away and kept only one. And that is the reason why for now I am going to keep the whole palette. Maybe at some point I will depot it, but I don't think I'm quite ready to do it yet. And right now, even though everything else is kind of like extra for me, it is worth for me to keep the entire palette because of this shade. Then there is one more highlighter palette to talk about. So this is the We Care Icon in Love Glow palette, and it is in the shade Forever Rose Gold. I don't know if the name is like really what the palette is, because I don't think this is that rose goldy. As you can see, there are 3 different highlighters here. This one is matte, and it's something I didn't count to my highlighter collection because I don't highlight with this kind of matte light powders. They are something I use to set my eyeshadow primer or under eye. This shade Glow is one of my favorite highlighters from my whole collection. It is that more neutral champagne highlighter, and it looks absolutely stunning with more neutral or more cool toned looks, and this is again something that I can pull off when I am at my palest. I really love this highlighter. As you can see, I have hit pan, and it's something I want to have in my collection. However, this shade Sparkle, like it's like a pressed glitter mess, like yeah, as you can see, it's not not that good, like I really hate this. I think that this is today the only palette that I'm going to depot, and I'm going to keep the shade Glow and also this shade Highlight. I will try to pan it and set my eye primer with it so that it doesn't take space in my magnetic palette, but this shade Glow is something I'm going to put to my magnetic palette and keep it. This shade Sparkle I'm going to declutter. Then I'm very quickly going to show you all of the highlighters in my multitasking palettes. All of these I'm going to keep for now, but probably later this year some of them are going to go from my collection. So this is my Pantat Face palette, the Viva La Diva Dream Cheek Blush and Highlighter palette, and there are two highlighters there. Sparkling highlighter that is like that champagne, and golden highlighter that is actually really unique to my collection. It is like that dirty gold highlighter, and when I will get rid of this palette, I may depot it and keep the shade Golden highlighter because it's really unique to my collection. They are a little bit more of that softer formula and not that blinding, but the tone is so unique and beautiful. Then I do have this theBalm Balm Voyage 2 palette, and there is one highlighter over here. It is called Kuvakari Pishha. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right, but it is like very similar tone to theBalm Mary-Lou Manizer. This one is just like a tiniest bit lighter than the Mary-Lou, but on the face they look like identical. Then I do have from Pacifica their Solar palette, and there are 3 cream highlighters here. When I did my makeup inventory in January, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to count these to my collection, but I did count them. But the thing is that I have not worn them a single time, and I will never wear them. Like, I just don't like cream highlighters. I'm probably going to depot the whole palette later this year, so these are going to go from my collection, but for now they are something that are going to stay, and I need to count to my total highlighter inventory. I do have here the BH Cosmetics Carly Bible palette. That is my Pantat palette, so I covered the eyeshadows because I don't want to spoil my Pantat palette finale, but I wanted to show these highlighters to you. So I have used up completely 2 highlighters from this palette, so those of course I didn't count to my highlighter inventory, but these 2 I counted, even though they are not highlighters for my skin tone, but they are still highlighters in my collection. But this palette is going to leave my collection in just a couple of weeks. But I must say that in this palette, the second highlighter that there was like one of my favorite highlighters ever. It's the first highlighter ever that I finished up. It's that more neutral champagne color highlighter. I wish BH Cosmetics sold a single highlighter in this color. I would buy it for sure. Then I do have the BH Cosmetics Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palette, and there are 6 highlighters in this palette. 2 of them are too deep for my skin tone, but I still need to count them to be highlighters in my collection. But yeah, let me quickly swatch these to you, and then I will tell my quick opinion of them. I'm a little bit in a hurry now, so I'm not going to explain them too long. So there is this warm pink. It's probably my favorite pink highlighter in my collection because it is warm, so I think it's more flattering on my skin tone. Then there is this gold. As you can see, I have hit pan on it, but it's too deep for me now. But in summer it's something I enjoy. But now that I do have the Ofra Rodeo Drive, I think that one is better for me because it's a little bit more lighter. Then there is a white. Then there is a highlighter that is that Lilac Duochrome. Not really my type of highlighter. I don't like those at all. But if I need one, I do have it in this palette. And then there are 2 more bronzy highlighters that are just too deep for my skin tone. Okay, so these are the highlighters I decided to declutter today. From this weaker icon palette I'm only decluttering 1, but the total amount of highlighters that I decided to declutter is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's actually even better what I expected. It still means that I do have 32 highlighters left in my collection, but as I told, some of those highlighters are going to go once I depot the palettes. There is a couple of highlighters in Project Pan, so yeah. I'm really pleased with this declutter. I'm ready to let all of this go, and I'm happy to keep from this palette only the one that I truly do love, and this one the matte one I'm trying to pan. But yeah, that was everything for today. Thank you for watching this video and see you in my next one. Bye bye!